Good part of the day, dears. So, I am Zahra Shkurova and I would like to speak about the emergence of professional jargons in English language. Let's begin with a particular situation. Have you ever come out of a meeting where a lot of jargon was bandied about and you weren't clear what was said? You are not alone. Excessive use of business jargon can weigh down communication and tax listeners. It may make it more difficult for people to grasp the full meaning behind a message. Worst of all, jargon can be distancing and exclusionary because some listeners may not be able to comprehend all the buzzwords coming at them, especially if they come on thick and fast. So, what exactly is the definition of jargon? Where did the term originate and why is oral language peppered with so much of it, especially in the business world? Let's explore. So, what is jargon? The origin of the term jargon dates back to the old French word jargon, meaning twittering. According to Maurizio Gotti, author of The Language of Thieves and Vagabonds, one of its earliest recorded uses in the English language was in the 14th century, in Geoffrey Chaucer's The Canterbury Tales. In this context, Chaucer referred to jargon as the utterance of birds or sounds resembling it. Today, there are two primary definitions of jargon. The first, as noted in dictionary.com, defines jargon as the language, especially the vocabulary, peculiar to a particular trade, profession, or group, such as legal or scientific jargon. It's basically shop talk, the shortcut language used among experts in the same field. This is the positive or neutral connotation of the word. The second definition of jargon refers to inflated or showy language, often heard in business today. The Merriam-Webster dictionary describes this negative interpretation of business jargon as obscure and often pretentious language marked by circumlocutions and long words. It's characterized by convoluted phrasing and vague meaning. The origin of three popular pieces of jargon. The list of frequently used jargon is extensive. Let's look at the origin of three prevalent business buzzwords according to a 2023 Preply survey of 1,002 in-person and remote US workers. The first jargon is synergy. Synergy stems from the Greek word synergos, meaning working together. A simple definition of synergy is the working together of two things or muscles or drugs, whatever, for example, to produce an effect greater than the sum of their individual effects. According to Merriam-Webster, the first known use of synergy was in 1632. Today, synergy shows up as one of the most overused buzzwords, often unnecessarily replacing more straightforward terms, such as collaboration or working together, effectively diluting its original, impactful meaning. In fact, the term synergy placed fifth on Preply's list of the 10 most annoying buzzwords based on its survey. So, next idiom is think outside the box. According to the Preply survey respondents, the phrase think outside the box is the fifth most commonly used piece of corporate jargon. It's believed that the term was inspired by the 9 dots puzzle, which first appeared in a 1940 book on puzzles. The 9 dots puzzle presents 9 dots in a 3-to-3 grid. The challenge is to connect all the dots using no more than 4 straight lines. Without lifting your pen from the paper, it's not possible to solve the puzzle without drawing outside the box formed by the 9 dots. But in today's business world, the phrase has become overused and hackneyed. Instead of relying on this ambiguous cliché, it can often be more productive to provide context and offer practical techniques to promote creativity and foster an environment that values diverse perspectives and innovative ideas, rather than asking others to simply think outside the box. A detailed approach in place of vague jargon may be more likely to lead to genuinely impactful creative thinking within a team or organization. And the last one, business jargon, is low-hanging fruit. The expression low-hanging fruit is also considered to be irritating office jargon. Low-hanging fruit refers to what is easily achievable without much effort, while the exact origin of the expression, which can be traced back to the literal act of harvesting fruit, is unclear. It began to appear in corporate speak in the late 20th century. The phrase gained popularity in business and management contexts as a way to describe tasks or projects that provide relatively quick wins or result without requiring significant investments of time, money, or energy. In other words, easy pickings. But along with that popularity came overuse, landing the phrase low-hanging fruit on Prepli's list of the 10 most annoying buzzwords based on its survey. So, here comes the question. Why do we use so much jargon? Let's try to think about some of the expressions we hear and use day in and day out. Firstly, we take it offline, unplug, or don't have the bandwidth. We unpack a statement, push the envelope, and drill down. We circle back, run the numbers, ramp up, dive deeper, and reach out. We talk about leading edge, cutting edge, and bleeding edge. We are always on the edge of something. We refer to people as thought leaders, ninjas, rock stars, gurus, and wizards. Things are robust, seamless, and scalable. Whatever happened to using plain language? It's safe to say that most people may not use inflated language at home, but it's not our we can talk. Buzzwords and jargon can generally be the domain of office speak. Then why do we have jargon overload in the business environment? There are several reasons. For one thing, people may use this type of jargon because everyone on their team does and they naturally want to fit in and belong. It's a way of feeling or appearing as an insider. Others may use it because their leaders do and they want to impress. Some may use it because they think it makes them look more intelligent or professional. And sometimes jargon use can simply be due to a habitual pattern of speaking developed over time. Jargon may seem like the easier route, supplying ready-made expressions without the need to think of more tangible and relevant ways to explain concepts. And here comes the question, how can we deal with all the jargon? If you are a business owner or leader looking to communicate in a way that genuinely engages your audience's attention, you may consider evaluating the jargon you are in the habit of using. Carefully constructing your important messages to avoid buzzwords and replacing them with thoughtful expressions may pay dividends. For one thing, the absence of stock phrases or formulaic expressions can signal that you are speaking authentically from the heart about things that matter to your business and to those you are addressing. Buzzword-free communication can help you stand above the din of the crowd. Jargon is occupation-specific language used by people in a given profession, the shorthand that people in the same profession use to communicate with each other. For example, plumbers might use terms such as elbow, ABS, sweating the pipes, reducer, flapper, snake, and rough-in. Other plumbers will understand those terms in the context of plumbing, but to non-plumbers, those terms may have different meanings or be entirely without clear meaning. Jargon exists in just about every occupation: medicine, law, marketing, banking, insurance, education, engineering, farming, auto repair, construction trades, and more. Jargon is fine to use when communicating with other members of your profession. It makes sense, for example, for a doctor performing a medical procedure to use jargon in speaking with the anesthetists, nurses, and other medical professionals, since all of those others understand the terms in the same way, and the medical jargon eliminates the need for lengthy explanations. However, jargon is not useful in situations in which your audience doesn't have the same technical or professional background. If some technical terms are absolutely necessary to your communication, be sure to explain each term and its context. Whether or not to use jargon is often a judgment call, and one that's sometimes easier to make in speaking than in writing. In an oral context, you may be able to know from immediate feedback whether or not your audience understands a technical term, based on their facial expressions or body language. If not, you can define the term immediately. In written language, you lack that immediate response and must consider your audience's characteristics and background more carefully. The more you learn about your audience, the more you can tailor your words to that audience's level of understanding. If you lack information or want your document to be understood by a variety of readers, then use common words and avoid jargon. The world of business is notorious for its complex language and jargon that often leaves outsiders scratching their heads. From synergy to leverage to streamlining and innovative solutions, business jargon has become an integral part of corporate communication. However, the origins of these terms are far from arbitrary. It means they have evolved over time as a reflection of the changing dynamics within the business world. Industrial Revolution and the birth of technical language. So let's speak about the roots and emergence of business jargon and what age, what era they can be traced back to. So the roots of business jargon can be traced back to the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries. As industries grew and technology advanced, the new concepts and processes emerged, necessitating the development of technical language to facilitate communication among professionals. Phrases like assembly line, supply chain, and efficiency optimization became commonplace as businesses sought ways to maximize productivity. The second factor is military influence and strategic thinking. The mid-20th century saw an influx of military technology or terminology into the business lexicon. The end of World War II brought military personnel into the corporate world, bringing with them a wealth of strategic thinking and organizational structures. Terms like tactics, deploy, and mission statement started to permeate business discussions, emphasizing the importance of planning and execution in the corporate landscape. Scientific management and Taylorism. Frederick Winslow Taylor, an influential figure in the early 20th century, introduced the concept of scientific management or Taylorism. This approach aimed at applying scientific principles to improve efficiency and productivity in the workplace. Taylor's ideas gave rise to terms like time and motion studies, standardization, and efficiency experts, shaping the language of business management, globalization, and cross-cultural communication. It is the third factor. As businesses expanded globally in the latter half of the 20th century, the need for a common language became apparent. So, business jargon served as a means of cross-cultural communication, allowing professionals from different backgrounds to understand and collaborate effectively. Terms like global strategy, market penetration, and cultural fit emerged as companies navigated the challenges of operating in diverse environments. And the fourth factor is tech boom and the rise of Silicon Valley speak. The advent of technology age, particularly with the rise of Silicon Valley in the late 20th century, brought a new wave of jargon into the business world. Phrases like disruption, scalability, and unicorn became synonymous with the fast-paced, innovative nature of the tech industry. This language reflected the unique challenges and opportunities presented by the digital revolution. Fifth factor is corporate culture and branding. Business jargon also plays a crucial role in shaping corporate culture and branding. Companies often create and use specific terminology to convey their values, goals, and identity. Terms like mission statement, core values, and brand equity contribute to a company's unique language, fostering a sense of identity and unity among employees. The origins of business jargon are deeply rooted in the historical, technological, and cultural developments that have shaped the business landscape over the centuries. While some may criticize the excessive use of jargon as a barrier to effective communication, it undeniably serves a purpose in capturing the complexities and nuances of the modern corporate world. Understanding the evolution of business jargon allows us to appreciate its role in facilitating communication and adaptation with the ever-changing realm of commerce. Most professions have a professional jargon. Without jargon, professions cannot be beautiful and attractive. These are the terms used in the field that most muggles, it means anyone outside the field, probably wouldn't understand. Speech-language pathologist, it means the name alone should tell you something. Or AKA speech therapists are no different. We love words and we love to throw around words that have particular meanings. Jargon is super fun for us. Agreeing on and using terminology within a field or even across professional disciplines is fine. It's a good thing. It keeps everyone on the same page. It helps us know what we are talking about college to college. But the problem arises when professionals use their jargon with someone outside the field. When that happens, we risk appearing removed and academic at best and downright insensitive at best. Being able to translate professional jargon into words that a non-professional would understand is an act of cultural competence. It is just good manners, basic kindness. It is something speech therapists in particular should be good at. And yet, we struggle just like everybody else. Jargon is defined as the language, especially the vocabulary, peculiar to a particular trade, profession, or group. For example, medical jargon or plumber's jargon. All the professions use this linguistic shorthand that serves as a means of communication among members but effectively excludes all others. It is very useful in a community sharing a common interest as it removes much information redundancy. At the same time, it represents a barrier to those unfamiliar with it. Communication failures created by jargon are especially plentiful and pernicious in healthcare. Like every profession, the use of jargons has become very common in the healthcare field as well, especially in medical or dental records. Although use of standard medical jargons in its most positive light can be seen as professional, efficient shorthand, a lack of awareness regarding the standard medical abbreviations and incessant and overzealous use of slangs, mistaking them for jargons among the healthcare professions can act as barrier in effective communication and understanding among patients and peers. Moreover, communication barriers often go undetected in healthcare settings and can have serious effects on the health and safety of patients. Clearly, the world has become smaller due to the use of information and communication technologies. Effective communication requires the parties involved share a clear understanding of various definitions and parameters and decide which information and data are being exchanged. In other words, are we talking about the same thing? Here, language and in particular jargon plays a key role. Even assuming that all the parties have a reasonable comment of a common language, For example, in international English, the same words may have significantly different meanings to people from different parts of the world. Jargon is an abbreviated form of language that encompasses tacit knowledge. As medical students, house surgeons, and residents, we pick it up from our peers and from attending physicians who should know better. We hear it at lectures and conferences. We read it in journals and textbooks. Eventually, we become inured to it, and we no longer recognize how ugly it is and how often it impairs effective communication. Medical jargon is often justified on the grounds that it constitutes a kind of medical shorthand, allowing more efficient communication when time is short. These examples illustrate that jargon is often less informative. Although studies assessing the impact of jargon used by healthcare providers on the patients have been reported in the literature, not even a single study was found in the available electronic literature that assessed the impact of use of jargon among the healthcare personnel. As stated above, with the world becoming much smaller and with great developments in the field of communication, there needs to be uniformity in the recording and reporting of medical data. Although there exists a definite set of standard medical jargon, there is a serious lack of awareness regarding the same, and there is a prolific use of abbreviations in case history taking, mistaking them for standard medical jargon. This often can result in a lack of effective communications among the colleagues and patients. With case history deserving a great importance as a medical record presently, uniformity needs to exist in the documentation of medical records. Hence, the study was conducted to assess the use of medical jargon among dentists and the impact on their peers. A very significant observation in this study was all the 549 respondents of the study used jargon in their case history taking. Moreover, only 56% of the respondents admitted to using jargon only when there was a lack of time. This habit is significantly greater in students compared to house surgeons and faculty. This highlights the fact that use of jargon or shorthand has become an integral component of writing for a significant proportion of the population. The growing and overzealous use of short messaging service and social media may have a significant role to play in this regard. This has in fact become a current topic of concern. Various research conducted in this regard indicate the influence of texting on English language. Although the results are debatable, there is clear preference for the present generation to use abbreviations over full forms everywhere. Thus, the observation that about half the respondents used jargon as they find it easy. Over 70% reported learning the jargon from their colleagues, which is again matter of concern. Yet another important observation is that about 65% of the respondents believe that they use standard medical jargon only. However, in reality, as per this study, the vast majority of the jargon used is not standard. Moreover, an institution-wise comparison of the jargon used by the respondents revealed a definite variation among its institutions in the same geographical area. Even more important is the fact that there were abbreviations, the use of which was restricted to a single institution, which the respondents in the neighboring institutions were unaware of, clearly ascertaining the fact that these abbreviations are created according to one's convenience. This accounts for the lack of uniformity in the jargon used. As reported, ironically, only CO, HO, and WRT among the abbreviations reportedly being used by the respondents can be described as standard medical jargon. It's noteworthy that over 60% of the respondents used jargon recording to a patient's personal information and history section. Guidelines in case history taking indicate that these sections demand the use of a language the patient can comprehend. And with case history record serving as important legal evidence in medical cases, uniformity needs to be strictly maintained in its recording. Furthermore, despite 55% reporting difficulty in understanding the abbreviations used by their colleagues, students, this is significantly greater among faculty members. Approximately 60% felt they were comfortable with the use of abbreviations in case history. This was significantly higher among undergraduate students. However, the majority of the postgraduate students and faculty members opinionated that they were comfortable with case histories without abbreviations. Although about 50% of the respondents claimed that they were aware of standard medical abbreviations, it was found to be false. This indicates a lack of adequate knowledge regarding the same. Most importantly, with about 85% opining that there is no need to stop the use of abbreviations, there is a clear reflection of the attitude of the respondents towards the same. A statistically significant difference in this regard between students and faculty members revealed that faculty members supported giving up the use of abbreviations. So, jargons are the little forms and shorthands of our daily life in every profession that adds to our speech more beauty and attraction. That was all. Thank you for your precious attention.